Is the Genmitsu PROVerXL 4x4 CNC router actually worth it for a hobbyist woodworker? Or is it overkill for someone who only needs occasional sign making? Who should grab it, who should walk away, and does the price make sense for the average maker? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When you first see a 4x4 footwork envelope, you start imagining big projects, say full-size guitar body, a cabinet door, maybe even a small aluminum prototype. That vision is tempting, but the reality of getting a CNC machine that size into a typical garage or small workshop can be a bit more complicated than just unboxing the kit. The first hesitation most buyers feel is the sheer footprint. The frame alone is roughly the size of a standard kitchen table, and you still need space for the controller, a dust extraction system, and safe clearance for the tool head. If you're already cramped for room, the machine could become a permanent obstacle rather than a productive tool. On the flip side, if you have a dedicated shop area, the PROVerXL's large travel can actually save you from having to reposition parts repeatedly. I've spoken with a few small business owners who run a custom sign shop, and they told me the ability to cut a full 48-inch sheet in one pass cuts down production time dramatically. That's the kind of practical advantage that isn't obvious from the headline 4x4 CNC claim alone. The next point of uncertainty is the learning curve. This isn't a plug-and-play tabletop router, it's a kit that expects you to assemble the frame, mount the dual axes, wire the closed-loop stepper motors, and calibrate the ball screw drive. For someone who's never built a CNC, the process can feel like a weekend project in itself. However, the community around Genmitsu is surprisingly active. There are detailed build videos, a user forum, and a handful of step-by-step PDFs that walk you through the alignment of the ball screws and the tuning of the closed-loop feedback. If you're comfortable watching a YouTube tutorial and tightening a few bolts, the assembly hurdle is manageable. If you're hoping for a pre-assembled, just turn it on experience, you'll likely be disappointed. Once you get it up and running, the machine's practical strengths start to shine. The dual axes means the tool head can maintain a consistent distance from the material even when you're carving deep pockets in wood or cutting a thin sheet of aluminum. In a real-world scenario, a wood turner I spoke with used the PROVerXL to carve a 2-inch deep relief panel for a decorative door. The dual Z kept the cutter from diving too low on the first pass, which saved his bit from breaking and eliminated the need for a second finishing pass. That kind of reliability is hard to quantify in a spec sheet but makes a tangible difference in day-to-day use. Another practical benefit is the closed-loop stepper motor system. Traditional open-loop steppers can lose steps when they encounter resistance, leading to miscuts that you might not notice until the job is finished. The closed-loop design on this Genmitsu model constantly monitors the motor position, correcting any slip on the fly. In practice, users report that they can run the machine at higher feed rates without worrying about losing accuracy, which translates into faster turnaround on medium complex parts like interlocking wooden puzzles or small metal brackets. But there are trade-offs worth noting. The ball screw drive, while precise, also introduces a bit more maintenance than a simple lead screw system. Over time, you'll need to keep the screws lubricated and check for any wear on the nut. If you're a casual user who only fires up the machine a few times a month, that maintenance cadence might feel like an unnecessary chore. Additionally, the machine's power rating is sufficient for hardwoods and soft metals, but it struggles a bit with dense hardwoods like ebony or with thick aluminum plates beyond a few millimeters. In those cases, you'll notice a drop in spindle speed and a higher chance of tool deflection. So if your primary material list includes heavy alloys or exotic woods, you might need to upgrade the spindle or consider a more industrial-grade router. Cost is the final piece of the decision puzzle. At its price point, the PROVerXL sits in a sweet spot between entry-level hobby kits and industrial-grade 4x4 machines that can cost several times more. You're paying for a fairly robust frame, the dual Z hardware, and the closed-loop electronics, all features that are typically add-ons on cheaper models. For a maker who plans to produce parts regularly, say, a small batch of custom furniture components, a line of wooden toys, Or a prototype series of metal brackets that investment can quickly pay for itself in reduced labor time and higher repeatability. Conversely, if you only need to cut a few hobby projects a year, you might find a smaller 2x2 or 3x3 CNC to be a more sensible use of funds. So who should buy the Genmitsu PROVerXL? If you have a dedicated workspace, are comfortable with a moderate amount of assembly, and intend to run the machine at least a few hours each week on wood, light metal,